What's up, guys? Welcome back. I'm meteorologist Andrea Myers, bringing you guys your daily hail forecast, sponsored as always by C3 Group, Merlin Law Group, American Contractor, and Atlas. Go ahead and check them out in the description to this video. So we've got a 3-star map in Minnesota for you guys to look at. We're going to go ahead and review everything that happened up that way into yesterday. Then getting into today, we've got a Denver risk as well as one for you guys up in Detroit and the Ohio Valley Great Lakes region. Going to cover everything hail, wind, and tornado for the next 24 hours. And then getting into tomorrow as well. And then we're going to take a glance at the tropics. It's been a minute since we've been out that way, so we're going to go ahead and check out this new disturbance that's on the horizon and tracking off east towards the U.S. Talk a little bit about whether or not it can make it out this way. But first, before we get into today's forecast, checking out yesterday, we got a good scattering of hail and wind reports pretty much across the nation, all the way from the Front Range out to the southeast and then up into the Midwest. But Minnesota really took the cake in terms of large hail for yesterday. Got those storms tracking down to the southeast through the Duluth area, in and around Minneapolis. Now, Minneapolis proper didn't get much, but we got some hail around it. That formed us a 3-star map. So going into that, we got 2.5-inch hail that moved through the Rice Lake area, a couple of other large hail producers up north of that, and then we got just a little tiny swath, some isolated quarters in Minneapolis proper. The rest was around in the suburbs, and so with that, got a 3-star map. Now there were some other swaths around in more rural Minnesota and whatnot. Max size on those were 3 inches, so got some really large hail through rural Minnesota. But as far as population, we got Rice Lake, Wisconsin, Montrose, and Alder, Minnesota as our map name, and 40,000 homes impacted with all of those storms into yesterday. So a solid little 3-star map for you guys up in Minnesota. Been waiting for your storms to come up your way, and so got some yesterday. If you guys want access to that map, you can go ahead and click the link in our description or go ahead and scan the QR code up above me in the banner there, and that'll get you access to our products and we can go ahead and sign you up. Or if you already have hail trace, go ahead and check out that map there. Again, it's Rice Lake, Wisconsin, Montrose, Alder, Minnesota hail. So that was the story for yesterday. Here's our jet stream pattern for today. We got this trough chilling out in Canada, but we do have a little shortwave that's moving off of it through Minnesota, now into the Great Lakes region, and out ahead of that, we're going to get storms with that large scale forcing. Smaller scale forcing here with this little dip that we're seeing in Wyoming, and that'll be enough to get us some storms across 25. But the main story here is that everything large is staying up north, so that's really going to be where any organized storm threats can stay. And everything south is staying very inactive in terms of the jet stream and just hot, hot, hot as it continues to bake with this pattern that we have setting up. So with that small little trough that we've got going right now, got those storms going along with it across I-70 as well as I-80, and we should see more forming through the Colorado Rockies and then tracking eastward towards the Denver metro, as well as potentially Colorado Springs, Pueblo area. You can just at that last frame there, see them starting to fire up through the Rockies, getting ready to make their way towards 25 right now. Then we do have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect for parts of Michigan here. With that, we could see up to 2.5-inch hail, 70-mile-an-hour winds, and a couple of tornadoes. That's what's being called for here with this severe thunderstorm watch. And then we've got more warnings being issued with these storms for high winds and hail. Now, as that gets ready to make its way towards the Detroit metro, could see some more storms firing, potentially producing that large hail. So that's kind of the main story for today between those two areas, and then check out those dew points. I mean, it's muggy when it's 60. When we're in the mid 70s to even upper 70s in New Orleans, your hair's frizzy and you can just feel how muggy and sticky it is outside with that. So it is prime fuel for storms if any disturbance was down that way, but really everything is staying up north. But we still have those 69-degree dew points just shy of 70 in Chicago and through the upper Mississippi Valley and Ohio Valley today. while those storms wait to move through. And that mugginess factors into what it feels like outside, which is still unpleasant for most of us down south. 100 degrees not uncommon across the board, all the way from Florida into Arizona. Getting a little bit of relief with that rain up north. You can see that cold front through parts of Wisconsin and parts of Iowa there, with that storm system that's getting ready to track through just through the northern part of Michigan. And again, that's enough forcing to potentially get us some severe storms continuing through this afternoon as we sit with our feels like temperatures in the mid 80s for that region. So that's kind of what we got for our current conditions, and then what's that going to do into the next few hours. Again, got those storms that are just now starting to fire up through the Colorado Rockies, should track eastward, and once they do, by around 2 p.m. Central Time, so 1 p.m. Mountain Daylight, should start to see those storms rolling into the Denver metro. Now, they will be able to hold on to enough instability out there with those high dew points and with just enough forcing to potentially get us some pretty large hail rolling off those mountains through Denver. So that'll be your first wave. Then you got a potential for a second wave moving through around 3 p.m. Mountain Time, and see how that stretches all the way down into Pueblo. So pretty much anywhere from Cheyenne down to Pueblo, once again, has a chance for large hail with any isolated structures that can move over your area. So with those, potential for large hail as well as tornado and high winds. And then more trying to backbuild towards the Denver metro by around 9 p.m., but the main story is now going to be this band that's tracking eastward through Kansas and then should sing southward, hopefully giving us some much needed rain down in Oklahoma City for tomorrow morning, should help us cool off, and our severe threat will kind of wane. Then up through Michigan, there they go, by around 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern, getting that whole line of individual cells potentially moving into the Detroit metro. So what that means is we could be seeing a large hail threat as well as a transitioning wind threat as those move in. And then we're going to see that whole line along that cold front start to fire up all the way through Indy now, and potential for large hail through there with any of those singular storms. The Ohio Valley's got enough instability today. It's got that large scale forcing, so really this is where all eyes are for that super large hail as that system tracks off to the east. And now we've got a wind producer by the overnight hours through the Buffalo area, tracking eastward through New England into the overnight. So lots going on across the Ohio Valley. For the southeast, should be a little bit more mellow. Just some scattered storms here and there across the region. Any of those could do some low-end severe risks. So 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts here and there, and maybe some quarter-sized hail. But again, it should be few and far between and should kind of linger through the overnight hours here and there. So for your hail forecast into this afternoon, large hail possible through the Ohio Valley Great Lakes area as well as along faithful I-25. So looking into our area out west, Denver, Pueblo, anywhere in between, got a moderate chance for that large hail with that isolated storm mode tracking over you guys, all the way into Dodge City, and then things should start transitioning towards wind as it tracks out to the east. So potentially some quarters off that system, very, very low end once it gets that far east. But again, along I-25 right now is where we're potentially watching for that large hail, and then you know how it does, it rolls east and then really gets going, producing that 2.5 inch potential through the area. Then off through the Ohio Valley, if you guys are in Detroit, that's where we're watching high-end chance to see at least quarters today. So 1 inch hail is, you got high probability to see 1 inch hail with those storms tracking through. Then the maximum potential on the strongest storms, 2.5 inches, all the way down into Indianapolis and just shy of Columbus when things start to take over for wind. And then Buffalo, Louisville, you guys are on the low end for severe hail, should again be more of a wind threat. So that's you guys out in the Ohio Valley. Out east, again, just a very low end chance from South Carolina off into southern Missouri with any of those scattered storms that make their way through. So your city forecast for Denver, storm timeline is long because you got multiple waves of potential severe weather. 1 p.m. is when it should be starting for Mountain Daylight Time. All the way through 10 p.m. should be the end of that last wave. So your largest hail, could see some red swaths on the map, 2.5 inches possible in and around the I-25 corridor. You got a moderate chance of seeing severe hail and still moderate chance of seeing anything larger than golf balls into today. So looking decent out in Colorado. For Detroit, little lower end chance of seeing that super large hail because again, things will be trying to transition to wind as it moves through Detroit. So if it stays singular, you could get that 2-inch hail through there and you could at least see some quarters. But you know, if things start transitioning more towards linear storm mode and we lose that individuality of those storms, then it's going to be more of a wind gust threat. But either way, storm timeline is going to be 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time is when those storms should be in and out, and then a clearer night for you guys in Detroit. So now for wind, again, the Ohio Valley and Northeast has the best chance for winds into today, but can't rule out I-25 all the way into Kansas. Again, when we start to see that Boeing structure tracking off to the east, that's when Colby and Dodge City will have a moderate chance to see at least 60-mile-an-hour gusts with that. Shouldn't be doing that quite yet as it moves out of Denver and Pueblo, but still a chance, and same for Wichita and Joplin, low-end chance to see some gusty winds with that. Then off into the Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, Northeast corridor here. Again, Detroit could potentially be seeing things getting a little breezier with those storms heading through the city. Columbus, same for you, Cleveland. And then once that full bow starts tracking through into Buffalo, that's when things should really get going. Potential to see some stuff blowing around for you guys out in Buffalo, or even through like Pittsburgh area, could see some high winds. And then we should see that system losing steam a little bit by the time it reaches Syracuse and Philadelphia into the overnight hours. Then, once again, southeast, you're in it. It's just really scattered, so low-end chance for anybody out there to see some 60s. Then for tornadoes, do have a chance for you guys out in the Ohio Valley and the Front Range. I know none of us love those, but you know, we could potentially be seeing some out that way. So Denver, Pueblo, all the way into Colby, could potentially be seeing some spin-ups with those storms. They'll be brief, but could potentially see some tornadoes tracking through. And then for the Ohio Valley, with initial storms, you could see some spin on those, and then once it forms that line, we could get some very brief embedded tornadoes along that line as it tracks off to the east. So low-end chance, but a chance nonetheless. If you guys are in any of those risk areas, now a great time to turn on those phone alerts, turn on those hail trace alerts too to see where we're mapping live, and we'll keep you guys updated into your severe weather modes and impacts through tonight. Then for tomorrow, should be a lot more low-key. We still do have a chance for you guys up in the mountains here, but it's going to kind of skip Colorado. It's going to be mostly down here through New Mexico with those storms developing, and then a couple of isolated storms up in southeastern Wyoming by around 5 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Mountain Time. Those will kind of scatter around through the afternoon and evening. Should just be kind of here and there, spotty storms moving through. Should potentially get us some severe hail there. And then through the southeast, we're going to have the remnants of today's system tracking down southward through, and could get us some gusty winds as well as some severe hail through the afternoon and through the evening. So that's kind of what we got for you guys tomorrow. It's going to be a more low-key risk into tomorrow. Could see some quarters to half dollars anywhere through the area from the southeast up to the mid-Atlantic and parts of I-25. So if you guys are in Cheyenne, if you're in Santa Fe, Las Vegas, New Mexico, could potentially see some quarters to half dollars there, or anywhere through the southeast all the way to the Atlantic coast for tomorrow. And then the mid-Atlantic from Norfolk up into Philly could potentially get some quarters, half dollars, and some gusty winds for tomorrow's forecast. Then, last but not least, leaving you guys with the tropics. Again, it's been a minute. We still have Tropical Storm Dawn that's kind of bopping around through the central Atlantic. It's a fish storm. It's not really expected to hit anybody out there, but we do have this guy. No chance of formation in the next 2 days. Got really dry air up to its north. You can kind of see that pocket of clear air. That's not going to help it develop, but as it tracks into the central Atlantic, that's when it'll have a better chance. We're working with good amounts of heat potential, and again, this is just our cape. This is basically our instability to help severe hurricanes and tropical storms form. As that moves towards the coast of South America, you can see those higher values starting to tick up there. Basically just ocean temperatures kind of doing their thing, helping that sustain itself and develop as it tracks that way. And then, speaking of ocean temperatures, it is bathwater through the Atlantic right now. 86 degrees all the way through the north and western Atlantic, and then 85 degrees once we're moving down towards the equator there. So really good conditions for tropical cyclone formation, basically. And it's staying like that all the way through the Caribbean and up into the Gulf. So basically all it's going to need is low wind shear, so not a whole lot of change in wind speed or direction, and that'll help it organize over these nice warm waters over the next few days. So watching that as it tracks off to the east, we'll see what happens, and we'll keep you guys updated as always. If you want to get in contact with us or follow us, we're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. You can hit See First on Facebook so you never miss a live video. Smash that subscribe button everywhere else, and give us a follow on the TikTok. We're at Hail Trace on everything. We're easy to find, and we have some cool storm chasing videos out on our YouTube Shorts and our TikToks. So if you guys want some extra content that way, that's available. Then if you want to get in contact with us, you can go ahead and scan that QR code up above me, click the link in our description, and you can get access to our products. Or if you want to know more, give us a call at 855-334-4245. Email us at info@hailtrace.com or check out hailtrace.com for more details. We'll be back tomorrow with more updates on your severe weather risks as always, but for now, I'm meteorologist Andrea Myers. Thanks for watching.